There are many things that cause homelessness. Doesn't mean that a person is careless of their money. With me, it had to do with family circumstances that I couldn't foresee. And I ended up on the streets.
I had very low self-esteem. I had just exited a really difficult relationship, and I loved that person. And it was really difficult for me to see goals for myself.
I've worked pretty much all my life, and then I got to a point where I just couldn't handle the load physically anymore. Basically just waiting to die, just figuring the best of the times have passed and the future holds nothing very promising. So I was literally without hope.
Mercy Housing began in 1980 because one person saw a need and wanted to respond. That individual was a Sister of Mercy in Omaha, Nebraska, who was a legal aid attorney, and she was working with families who were being evicted from places that you or I would not want to live in. And after walking through several of the buildings, she said to herself, I know we could do better than this.
A big misconception about affordable housing is that it's oftentimes perceived to be bad for the neighborhood. On the contrary, if you look at the affordable housing that Mercy Housing has developed over its 30-year history, it's beautiful. The buildings are beautiful. We're often the fabric of the neighborhood. We're involved, we participate, we add value to the neighborhood.
My parents separated and it was a little bit hard on everybody. And at that point my mother was looking for an opportunity for housing. And she looked into Casa San Juan. We're actually the first ones to be able to come in and enjoy this beautiful place. Living in Casa San Juan, there's a program. It was an after-school program, and it was something I look forward to coming to and hanging out with the rest of the kids of the complex. And there was an art contest going on for the Multicultural Festival, and I ended up drawing the table with all the different foods of the world and the American flag in the background. It was one of the top artworks, and it was an exciting moment and opened up my eyes and realizing that art might be a career for me. And here I am on my second year in business.
I'd been living on the street for about 7 years, and I walked in the apartment and I couldn't believe it. You know, it's like a refrigerator and a bathroom with a bath. I took a shower for 2 hours. It was a big deal because being on the street, you forget a lot of the niceties of life, you know. And it was kind of like putting on an old suit again. I could feel myself coming back the way you feel circulation coming back to your foot after it's been sitting. The stability of housing is where it all starts. Once you get housing, then other things make sense. When I first moved in, it was like, ooh, now what can I do now? And the difference really is 180 degrees. I have warm personal relationships. I have medical care and a vocation in my artwork. I don't know what it takes to make a person happy, but I'm hitting on a lot of those cylinders.
In 2010, I escaped a domestic violence situation, and I had been in that situation for about 2 years. When we escaped, we went to a domestic violence shelter, and we were there for 3 months. I was able to get into Mercy Housing. It quite literally became our safe hold. I have a lot of support surrounding with Mercy Housing, with the community that has been created. After I entered the program in 2011, I started back at school. This last fall, I transferred to the University of Washington, and I am now studying social work, and I will continue on, hopefully, and do my master's degree in social work. I look at my kids every day, and I see that I'm giving them opportunities, and I am very happy about that.
My name is Thomas Ndemele. I'm a former resident. I'm now a practicing pharmacist and also a homeowner. For me, Mercy Housing was a stepping stone. It just gave me a little bit of power and energy to move on to greater things in my career. When I come back here, what I do is I interact with the residents, some of whom I know, I've known for years. Right now, I'm working with a lady in here who is trying to go back to nursing school just to inspire her to go back. A property like Mercy Housing gives you an opportunity to actually get the financial capacity, and there are so many other information that we actually get whilst we live here that actually opens the world for you for greater things.
The service and program component of what we do has always been the core. The families and the seniors and the people with special needs who come to us have very limited resources. So the program piece has been incredibly important to help people figure out what it is they need to make the dreams that they have come true for their families.
I am a single father. I have twin 5-year-old boys that are with me full time. Before I was here, I was actually homeless. To not have a place to have a roof over your own head and your kid's head, it's terrible. It's the worst feeling in the world. Being at Mercy Housing, having a place for my kids, to know that I can provide for them, it's just made the biggest difference in the world.
This is the most best place I've ever been. I love my home because we get to eat, sleep, and sometimes play video games. My favorite thing at the after-school program is playing on the computers, and my sister's favorite thing is playing on the piano. When I grow up, I want to be a doctor because I want to help my family and help others.
We have the benefit at Mercy Housing of having 10 Catholic health systems that are linked to us in our work. They, along with Mercy Housing, recognize that housing is the basis and an essential component to being healthy.
Inadequate housing causes or contributes to many preventable diseases and injuries. We recognize that the health of the individual is inseparable from the health of the larger community.
What's really great about the relationship between Morehouse School of Medicine and Mercy Housing is that it really gives us time to really spend with the residents here to educate them on their health.
I had a bad day, and lo and behold, Dr. Buckner and Miss Jennifer Beasley knocked on my door, asked me could they do a blood pressure check. She checked it and gave me a real funny look, told me it was way too high. And I was feeling kind of strange, but I wasn't in pain. I went directly to my phone. I called my doctor, made an appointment for the next day, and he gave me some medication for it. And I honestly believe Dr. Buckner might have saved my life.
Mercy Housing has managed to stay in the fight, to stay as relevant and as successful as we are for many reasons, most of them having to do with sheer tenacity and this driving understanding of the need and willingness to really respond.
I see homeless people differently now that I'm homeless. Before I became homeless, I used to think that the homeless people on the streets were maybe lazy or couldn't manage their money. But now that I'm homeless, I see that's not the case with many people. We're not insignificant, we're not inhuman. We just don't have a house right now because bad times hit. Things they couldn't foresee. I thank God for Mercy Housing. If it wasn't for Mercy Housing, I don't know where I would be. I have a bathroom, a tub, most of all privacy. And I'm not afraid. I have a door that locks. I'm not afraid of going to sleep. Now I can sleep.
You are building up a generation of people, encouraging a generation of people to become very useful members of the society. If Mercy Housing did not exist, or if I hadn't moved here, I would have actually abandoned my dream.
It's an opportunity for people to reach their potential, go above and beyond what they could have done without it. And to be honest, my family would still be homeless if it weren't for Mercy Housing. And I wouldn't be able to be pursuing all of the things that I'm doing, and I will make a change in this world.
I have outlived everybody in my family by almost 20 years. Without this place, I would be totally alone in the world. That feeling of knowing that there's someone else involved, that's a good feeling.
You have made a difference. You have made a huge difference in the lives of the people that we're trying to serve. You give people hope. You give parents hope that their kids can have a better life. You give seniors hope that they're living in a place where somebody cares about them and that they won't be alone when they come to the end of their lives. That's the important work of what we do.